you can imagine what was happening with people trying to funnel in. It was just awful. People getting crushed, kids. It was a really, really awful experience, Kay. And when I got through after an hour, we eventually got through the other side, and I was literally begging the security guards to open up the other remaining turnstiles. To no avail. I was actually with Liverpool Football Club stewards on the other side, and they were just powerless. They weren't getting taken any notice of. So it was absolutely chaotic.
Well, that was the Labour MP Ian Byrne. I should just tell you, we've heard there is going to be a news conference with the French Sports Minister Amélie Oudéa-Castéra and Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin, the equivalent of our Home Secretary. That's around 12 o'clock about what happened in Paris on Saturday night. We'll bring you that live around midday, so do stay tuned for that. Well, I can tell you about violence too in the French city of Saint-Étienne last night. Angry fans stormed the pitch after Saint-Étienne lost their playoff match, relegating them for the first time in 18 years. Fireworks were launched as players were evacuated from the pitch. Police say 2 officers and 17 supporters were injured. Now back home, millions planning to celebrate the Jubilee holiday with a getaway or to the sun or a trip to the seaside could have problems. Many passengers have endured delays and cancellations that have disrupted their plans so far. Some of the most chaotic scenes have been in Manchester, where airport bosses have apologised to travellers. And British Airways is asking passengers at Heathrow and Gatwick to drop off their bags a day early to ease congestion. Let's join our correspondent Becky Cottrell, who's at Manchester Airport this morning. Things are pretty grim, given this is half-term week too, Becky.
Yeah, it's been chaos here over the weekend and into this morning. Huge queues of passengers backed up trying to check in, and then potentially facing hours-long waits on the other side, and even cancellations, and that's understandably left many people upset. We're also hearing reports of people flying into the airport not being able to take their bags with them and being told they'll be delivered to their homes. It seems there just isn't the capacity to turn those bags around in time. Now, these disruptions aren't new to this year. Obviously, during the pandemic, many airlines, many airports lost staff when the travel restrictions were in place. They were quickly lifted, and those companies just haven't been able to recruit the number of staff needed to deal with the summer boom in travel, and the problems are amplified at the moment because, as you say, it's half term. People want to get away for that Jubilee bank holiday, and that is why we are seeing all of these problems. Now, one of the airlines that's been involved in this is TUI, particularly here at Manchester. They've apologised for the disruptions, but many passengers are saying they just don't like the way the airlines have handled it, particularly the last minute cancellations. Another airline that will have made a lot of customers angry is EasyJet. They cancelled 200 flights last week because of a software failure, and then they've said they're going to cancel another 200 flights over the next 10 days, mainly affecting passengers travelling out of Gatwick. So if you are hoping to get away this week, just be aware you may face a fair bit of disruption. But airlines and airports are saying to customers, look, we know what you're seeing on the news, but please don't get to the airports extra early because you'll only add to the problem and potentially slow the process down even more.
All right, Becky, many thanks indeed for now. Becky Cottrell at Manchester Airport. The amount we are paying for the cheapest items at the supermarket is rising at the same rate as other products. Research by the Office for National Statistics looked at 30 types of food. It found the cheapest items at supermarkets rose by 6% in the past year. The price of pasta increased the most, up 50% between April 2021 and April this year, while the price of potatoes actually fell by 14%. Let's bring in our business correspondent, Helen Ann Smith. Morning to you, Helen Ann. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, this is a really interesting set of what's being called experimental data, actually, by the Office for National Statistics. And the reason they wanted to look into this was they do take, obviously, a rate of inflation, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And what that does is it takes a look at 700 items across the board of life, of goods and services, and works out how much the price of those items is increasing. But that basket of 700 or plus items includes some things that are very high value, perhaps very discretionary, things like champagne, things like cigars, new cars, whiskey, even boats are in there. So what they wanted to do was take a look at the items that people who are really struggling with the rising cost of living will definitely still be buying. So things that are not discretionary, to try and work out really how inflation is affecting that particular group of people. So this research looked at 30 very regular everyday items and crucially looked at the cheapest versions of those items, so the sort of the value items at the supermarket. And the overall finding, as you said there, is that inflation of those cheap everyday items is rising 6% in the 12 months to April, but that is roughly in line with what inflation is across all food and non-alcoholic beverage items, which is about 6.7%. So there had been some claims that if you were one on the lowest incomes buying that cheaper product, that you would be suffering from a more proportionally higher rate of inflation. Well, in fact, that's not true. It's roughly the same. Within that, though, there are some real discrepancies within items, as you said there. So just a few. Pasta up 50%, crisps 17% rise, bread 16%, minced beef 16%, so big rises. But on the other end of the scale, some were falling. So potatoes down 14%, cheese fell by 7%, pizza down 4%. So a bit of a mixed picture there. One of the other interesting findings, though, just to leave you with, what this research also pointed out is that you can take the cheapest version of an item, is sort of roughly in line with inflation. But what it found is that often if you then went to the next cheapest version of that item, perhaps not the kind of own brand version, there could often be real differences between those products, potentially as much as 20%, the ONS said. So a real sense there that people who are struggling really need to try and shop smartly. We all need to try and shop smartly to try and get those cheapest deals that are out there, but unfortunately they are not a lot less cheaper than that general rate of inflation that we're all suffering with.
All right, Helen, thanks a lot for now. Well, it won't have escaped your attention that news follows measures announced by the Chancellor last week. Rishi Sunak says he hopes to help people deal with the cost of living crisis, but many struggling to make ends meet say it may not be enough for them. Dan Whitehead reports now from Plymouth in the first of 3 special reports on the impact of rising costs.
It is a city built on its maritime fortune, home to more than 260,000. But a mile from the luxury yachts, Plymouth's cost of living crisis is biting hard.
On the Tuesday night, I'm in the red. I'm in my overdraft.
Every week?
Every week.
Mum of 3, Lara, works full-time. But now, that isn't enough.
Every week I'm about £80 in the red, and then I'll get paid Wednesday. And I thank God I'll get paid every Wednesday. But then by, like I say, the Thursday, Friday, with bills coming out and I've got to buy food and, this has got to be paid. I'm very lucky to have any of my wages left. And that should be enough.
Her electricity and gas bill has gone up from £71 to £224 a month.
I'll be honest with you, I've cancelled the direct debit and it frightens me because I think, well, they're going to send me a letter and say, well, you've got to pay it. You're constantly worrying.
With things so tight, there's no budget for treats.
I just feel like a rubbish, terrible, I feel like I'm failing as a mum.
At the community cafe round the corner from Lara's flat, the cost of food, fuel and bills is on everyone's mind.
There's not enough money for the month at all. We get to about 3 weeks in and we've got nothing. So the last... Literally nothing.
Wages in Plymouth are below the national average, but it's not just those working being hit. Plymouth's pensioners are finding that this isn't the retirement they'd hoped for. Friends David Selleck and David Perkins have lived in Plymouth all their lives. They say the money they get from the state isn't keeping up with the cost of living.
Gas and electric, paying £150 a month. I only get just over £600 a month, and that's a third of it gone, just like that. And then you got food on top, and then you got other bills. It's getting to be a struggle. It's getting bad.
It's hitting me hard, and it's frightening me as a person being disabled as well.
The government's latest package of support will help the likes of David and Lara, but as the financial squeeze gets worse, no one really knows how tight it's going to get. Dan White's Sky News in Plymouth.
Now, the fallout from the Sue Gray reports continues this morning following fresh allegations of a second Downing Street birthday gathering for the Prime Minister. Labour is calling for an investigation into leaked text messages suggesting there was another event in the number 10 flat during lockdown held by Boris Johnson's wife, Carrie. Let's speak to our political correspondent, Tamara Cohen. Right, hard to keep up with all this. These allegations surround the evening, don't they, of the Prime Minister's birthday in 2020?
Hi Nick, yes, essentially Partygate continues with a drip feed of information about more gatherings. The allegations made in the Sunday Times over the weekend are that in addition to all the 16 gatherings that Sue Gray looked into in her report out last week, there may have been another one on the night of Boris Johnson's birthday party in June 2020. So you remember earlier in the day we saw those pictures of him in a cabinet room with some boxed up sandwiches. That's where the birthday cake appeared, and the Prime Minister and the Chancellor, we know, received a police fine over that. It's alleged that later in the evening, the Prime Minister's wife, Carrie Johnson, held a party for him, and that there are leaked text messages and WhatsApp messages talking about that party, which would, of course, be a breach of the rules if it occurred as billed, and that Sue Gray did not look at those messages. Now, the Cabinet Office have pushed back against this, saying that these were not handed over to them for the inquiry. So questions about whether or not they should have looked into it. They say that it wasn't given to them in the proper way, but Labour are saying that this really smacks of a cover-up, and they're saying that it should be investigated more fully. Angela Rayner, the deputy leader of the Labour Party, has actually written to the most senior civil servant, Simon Case, and I'll read you a bit of the letter that she has sent to him. She says, "It is crucial that you now advise the Prime Minister to come clean about his involvement in this apparent rule-breaking gathering. I request that you make public his correspondence relating to this event and his whereabouts on the date of the 19th of June and publish the relevant messages you have received." And Labour may be trying through other ways to try and get those messages made public. I think the bigger question is, of course, what do the Partygate revelations so far say to Conservative MPs about the Prime Minister? We know that more than 30 MPs, 34 according to the list that we are keeping, have expressed public reservations about him. Now, that is out of 360 odd MPs, but you only need 54 to trigger a vote of confidence in the Prime Minister, and there's increasing speculation that Conservative MPs may be nearing that threshold. Of course, the Prime Minister may well win such a vote if one were to happen, but we spoke to one of the MPs who's really been leading the charge in calling for the Prime Minister to resign. That's the former Defence Minister, Tobias Ellwood, and he set out for us why MPs are so concerned. This is what he said.
This is going to be a testing summer. Polling is now showing we could lose 90 seats. And we know that we still seem to be in denial. And it's time to shake off this partisan Stockholm syndrome, I believe. Our party brand is suffering. We will lose the next election on current trajectory. And as I predicted, we're now going to get a steady drumbeat of colleagues no longer willing to defend or indeed dismiss what happened in number 10.
So he says that in addition to this being indefensible, the Partygate behaviour, he also says that the Conservatives are on course to lose the election, and that's what should really be focusing their minds. MPs are away from Westminster this week. They're in their constituencies because they have a week-long break, and they will no doubt be taking soundings from voters as to how they are feeling about the next election. But if the concern about the cost of living, plus this issue, and a sense of drift in government, because this Partygate issue, we're going to have another inquiry now into whether the Prime Minister misled Parliament. If this starts to overshadow everything else the government is trying to do, they may be in rather tricky territory.
Well, we'll certainly see what happens. Thanks a lot for now, Tamara. European Union leaders will meet today to declare continued support for Ukraine. EU governments have so far failed to reach an agreement on an embargo on Russian oil. They have been warned they must choose a side and stop financing Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine by continuing to buy Russian energy. Lithuania's Vice Energy Minister has told Sky News that countries which refuse to abandon power supplied by the Kremlin risk reputational damage. Lithuania has completely stopped all Russian energy imports. Our Europe correspondent Siobhan Robbins reports from Klaipeda on the Baltic Sea coast.
This ship is what independence looks like in Lithuania, an aptly named floating gas platform, helping this country to be the first in Europe to completely cut power from Moscow.
I feel incredible, I feel proud that we did it on time. And I, of course, regret a bit that only this region was caring about, let's say, security of supply and energy independence, because probably security doesn't have a price.
Here they transfer LNG, chilled gas delivered from the US, breaking the reliance on pipelines from Russia. After Putin invaded Ukraine, Lithuania also ditched the Kremlin's oil and electricity. Lithuania's breakaway from Russian energy hasn't happened overnight. It's taken them around 15 years. But the war in Ukraine means other European countries no longer have that luxury of time. Half a century of Soviet occupation has shaped policy here. Yagita remembers the fear and forced deportations. No family was left unscathed.
We know how the KGB institutions have been working. We know how disruptions of energy supplies can be applied. So therefore, we have a living memory of the strategies that Russia has been applying.
Lithuania's past experience has prompted massive public support of Ukraine and warnings other European leaders must act.
You have to choose sides. And choosing the wrong side in history is a very big damage for your future.
Why is it, do you think, that Lithuania managed to see the writing on the wall, whereas it seems other European leaders were asleep at the wheel?
Because it is very convenient to have a cheap energy. Price was the important thing. Another thing was that Europe had too many illusions about Russia. We never had those.
Long-term energy security includes investing in renewables. Orders of these solar panels have rocketed more than 200% this year. People are determined to ditch Putin's power, whatever the cost.
Everybody agrees to pay extra to have green power and power produced in Lithuania at home. So price, I think this is not a priority now. Safety is a priority.
And Lithuania's power game isn't over. As this country aims to secure its energy independence, it's determined the rest of Europe should follow. Siobhan Robbins, Sky News, Lithuania.
You're watching Sky News today. Thank you for your company. Coming up, a subtle message from President Biden as he visits the Texas school where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed last week.
The Queen is about to celebrate her Platinum Jubilee, something that no other monarch has done. Back in a minute.
Making her mark for 70 years. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee on Sky News.
It was everything that a journalist might want in a story.
A story that you'd be proud to have filmed.
But they didn't want journalists to see the real story.
It was very tiring, it was very sad, it was very scary at times.
Hey, there's no need for this.
But you have to keep going.
Look at that.
You don't want to lecture people, but you do have to give them the facts.
The wind was like pulling us out of that little room.
Mandatory evacuation, you must leave!
I'm Greg Milam, Sky's US correspondent here in Los Angeles. It is almost impossible to predict where these fires will go next. We aim to be the best and most trusted place for news. This gives you an idea of the strength of those winds, strong enough to bend and twist metal. You trying to run me over, Sir Philip?
No, go away.
Look like it, sir. Will you respond to those who made accusations, Sir Philip?
Can you go away?
I've seen the dark side of America. We are standing on the supply line right into the heart of America's opioid crisis. I've seen heartbreaking human stories.
There was a river of blood coming out of the mosque. That's a scene that you don't forget.
Christchurch has been changed forever by what happened here.
Hello again. US President Joe Biden has said he is committed to turning pain into action. He made the pledge after meeting the families of 19 students and 2 teachers who were shot dead in the Texas school shooting last week. From Uvalde, our US correspondent Greg Milam has this.
On a day of mourning in Uvalde, the visit that every city must dread, the motorcade of a president carrying a nation's condolences for unimaginable loss. Joe and Jill Biden went straight to the memorial at the Robb Elementary School, the scene of such horror on Tuesday. President and First Lady, herself a teacher of course, paying their respects. This has become a sad ritual for American presidents, so many victims of gun violence in so many communities. But for the people of Uvalde, at the end of such a traumatic week, thoughts were with their neighbors who lost so much.
We go home to our kids, and unfortunately they can't. And this is something that Uvalde will always be remembered because of this tragedy. And it's one thing that, you know, you don't want to be remembered this way. You always want to be remembered as something positive.
The questions about the speed of the police response on Tuesday have now prompted the Department of Justice to open what they call a critical incident review to see if lessons can be learned. Just one of the reckonings America is facing. While this visit was about consoling and supporting the community, Joe Biden knows there are big questions for politicians, including him, about whether anything can be done to change a culture that allows these things to happen. This was the chant that confronted the president here, a plea for him to do something. We will, he replied, but is that a promise he can keep? Greg Milam, Sky News, Uvalde in Texas.
How is the weather looking for Jubilee week? Let's find out.
Warm memories wherever you go. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
We're in for a showery few days, but it will turn mostly fine to end the week. There's a chance of more unsettled conditions in the south on Sunday. The mainly northerly flow means it will be rather cool generally and distinctly chilly in the north. It will be mostly cloudy this afternoon with widespread showers, but there will be some sunny breaks. Scotland, Ireland and Northern Ireland look most favoured. The showers will be heavy at times, but will become fairly isolated over southern Britain later, leaving most places there with a fine evening. There will be further showers overnight, concentrated over Wales and western and southeastern England, but Ireland and Northern Ireland will largely dry up later. Light winds and clear spells mean it'll turn quite chilly with mist and fog patches developing. Tuesday then will bring sunny spells and further showers for most, but Northern Ireland and the north of Ireland will see cloud and more general rain moving in. The showers will be concentrated in the north and east, where some thundery downpours are possible, lighter and more scattered elsewhere.
all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that?
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on The CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Star Radio.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820. Or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Body is your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the King Makeup about for the girls. We're here. This is Star Radio. Don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckleman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Star Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
Online, on mobile, and soon on DAB. This is Star Radio UK, the leading Afro-Caribbean radio station in London.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your
This is
smartphone.
Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr.
Welcome.
Are you ready? Oh yeah. I want to change it a little bit, all right? I don't know how to, but I know how to groan in the spirit, but not with my legs, all right? Come on. Come on. I see you. I see you.
This is Starr Radio UK. In your car,
At work.
at home,
On your smartphone.
And that is how I say a massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. We salute you and we welcome you to the Monday edition of the morning show. Today is the 30th day of the month of May 2022. The time now 10:37 from the hearts of London, and it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I'm saying good morning to all our wonderful listeners. Those of you in the UK, those of you in the America, those of you in Europe, those of you in Asia, those of you in Australia, those of you on the African continent. And I'm saying special good morning to Akim Alauza. Kim says, great job, bro. May Almighty Allah be with you. Thank you very much. And let me say good morning to my team this morning. Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, HRH, Linda Pallien, all the way in Cyprus. To my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. Good morning to you all, ladies and gentlemen. And wherever you are listening to me as well, I want to say I want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you who are supporting me during these difficult times, and those of you who were with us online, and those who came to the memorial service for my late dad, Reverend Anthony Hammond. I salute each and every one of you. I say a massive God bless you. Okay, but from now till 1 o'clock, when the curtains are brought down for the end of the program, this is what we're going to be doing. Playing in the background at the moment, something from Denzel Prempe. And in a nutshell, for those of you who don't understand that language that is being spoken, it's one of the Ghanaian languages that is a Ghana language mixed with some English stuff. Say that there is nothing that God can't do. So whatever you are trusting God for, I beg you, please continue to hold on to it. Or maybe Allah, whatever. Continue to hold on to it. Somewhere, somehow, God comes through. And I promise you, because I know God will come through for you. Okay, don't give up hope. Well, I'm going to bring you the culture today, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. And now we will be going around the globe to look at what is happening across the globe, known as the global trotting. From thence we'll continue. And then, exactement, at 11 o'clock, the man who was working behind the scenes a couple of weeks ago is back. Mr. Olayomi will be joining us to bring us updates from Nigeria. That is exactly at 11 o'clock. Then after that, we'll continue to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. From Accra to Zanzibar, from archaeology to zoology. As I say all the time, if it's making the headlines, why not? We're going to be touching on it. So make sure your dials are so logged on. At 12 o'clock, we'll be opening the lines for you to join in on the discussions. And then at 12:30 exactly, we bring the first part of the program to a halt and then cross over to Cyprus, where our own lady, HRH Linda Pallien, will be to join us on Career 101. Then at 1 o'clock exactly, the questions are brought down for the end of the program. So in a gist, that is going to what is going to happen today. But do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. That will be my best present for this week. What about that? Let me salute every member of the Starr Radio UK team, management, and our presenters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really, really appreciate all of you. Vicky Newton, KB Bossman, Simon, Mr. Francis Guy, Mr. Frank Davids, and Queen Regina Anima. I salute each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Okay, now let's crack on. It's now 10:42 from the House of London. Yes, realistically, there are indeed no shortcuts whatsoever to success. Realistically, there are indeed no shortcuts whatsoever to success. So whatever you have to do, you have to work assiduously, work hard. And I tell you that with the blessing of God, it will come to pass. Let's say good morning to Phoenix all the way in Aberdeen, Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, and all the other folks. Good morning. Okay, let's move on to the weather front. Let me tell you what the weather is going to be. Thank God for a nice weather over the weekend. But for London and the southeast of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you today. Now we're going to be seeing this afternoon a mixture of sunny spells and a variable cloud cover along with a few isolated showers. Tonight will start mostly dry and partly cloudy through the early hours. Cloud and band of showers will move in from the west, this falling heavy in places. Top temperature is going to be 15 degrees, or it's going to be 9 degrees. Pollen level is going to be moderate, UV level, moderate pollution, low. Sunset 21:06 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 04:51 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast for you today, Monday, the 30th day of May 2022. Okay, don't you worry, I'll bring you that rest of that song in a moment. But for now, let's go to our travels. Let me tell you what is happening on our travels today. Stay tuned and don't you go away after this quick commercial break.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Check it out. Keep your eyes on the road.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep you navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio UK travel update. I come to work every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:44. So what is happening in the travels? So on the underground this morning, the circle has got minor delays due to a damaged cable or damaged cables in the backing area. And then on the district line, we've got part closures and minor delays and part suspension as well. No service between Pallien and Upminster due to a damaged cables in the Pallien area. London Underground tickets are being accepted on London buses. DLR South Western Railway and London Overground. Now, there are severe delays on the rest of the line. Customers are advised to avoid the district line where possible due to extended delays across the line. So that is for your information. If you want to embark on a journey around those areas, look at Plan B or get yourself ready to be stuck in traffic for ages. On the Hammersmith and City line as well, no service between Liverpool Street, Pallien due to damaged cables in Pallien area. The rest of the line have got severe delays as well. London Overground has got minor delays between Liverpool Street and Enfield, Chestnut and Chinford due to a bridge strike at Bethnal Green. Good service on all other routes. To the side, all the other underground lines have got good service. DLR London Tramlink, good service there as well. Now moving on straight to the major roads in London. Now A4 has got closures. That aside, A41 not circular, A406 has also got serious delays. Avoid them if possible. That aside, all the others, good service there. Now moving on straight to the river bus this morning. On the river bus, the Woolwich area got special service. All the others, good service. Now keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'm keeping navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio UK travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:46. The final segment of the travel update. That's the National Rail. So on the National Rail, First Transparent and Express have got special service, and Southwestern Railway minor delays. And that is where we come to an end with the travel update once again. But let me say it as I say it all the time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your comment for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the road.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to 11 minutes to the top of the hour. And it is the Monday edition of the morning show. So wherever you are, I want to once again say thank you very much for joining us on this platform where we're going to be looking at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as global trotting. So wherever you are, don't touch your dial. Don't touch your dial at all. Just continue to stay tuned and let us go. Global trotting. Okay. Now I will start from what we're going to be looking at exactly in the next 10 minutes from Nigeria, and that pertains to tick tock, tick tock, tick. Well, several persons injured as another explosion rocked about last night, 29th of May, at a location not far from the terrorist-sponsored bomb incident of last week that claimed over 20 lives. There's going to be more on that. Mr. Olayomi will be throwing more light on that as well. Omoyele Sowore wrote in 1992, when I contested as president of the University of Lagos Students Union and won, Atiku contested the presidential primary of the SDP. 30 years later, Atiku is still trying to contest to be president. Okay, now don't vote for Atiku or any other northern presidential candidates in 2023. The southern middle belt and leaders tell their people. But the question is, will there be any election at all? We're going to be looking at that. And Tambuwal withdrew from a race to endorse Atiku. So what is happening in the PDP? Are there going to be any elections come 2023? We'll be telling you how many days more for that election. 200 plus days, but we'll be telling you exactly more how many days more for that election when Mr. Olayomi joins us exactly in the next few minutes. All right then. But for now, let's go to other parts of the world and look at some of the stories making the rounds there. Interestingly, well, in Ghana, channel ideal funds into Africa's development. Well, interestingly, when it comes to Africa and it comes to development, a few of our leaders will go, raise loans and do blah, 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 put collaterals. But the thing is, if you look at the amount of money that we are making, okay, or we go for, and as to whether we've used that money judiciously to get the required outcome. So whatever project that we invested that money in, whether we get a value for money is another thing. So we keep on just going round that cycle. We're just going round and round and round, not learning. We're just going round and round. Well, that's what the president of Ghana is saying. We'll be looking more into those stories in a moment. But just stay tuned. Don't touch the dial. Kwame Bafo Abronya DC, re-elected as MPP Bono Regional Chairman. We'll be looking into that as well. And in Ghana, sir, Ben Epson wrongly predicted another election in Ghana. So are we supposed to forget about his predictions now? So when he predicts, we're like, oh yeah, you predicted that this is going to happen and it didn't. Well, someone to say, like some prophets, they predict and it hasn't come to pass. So maybe it's one of those things. Well. Okay, we'll be looking more into that. Now, policemen search for armed robbers who killed lawyer on Bole Bamboy Highway. It's a lawyer who has been killed now, and that's why it's making big browns or big news there. Now, what about other people who have been killed in armed robbery? Do we think about them? Do we talk about them? Okay, it is All Star Radio UK. We'll be looking into those stories in a moment. Now, MPP will overcome current economic hardship and win 2024 elections, Brian Champon says. We'll see how they do that. We'll see how. I wish, and I hope, and I wish them all the best, because I want to see people progress in their lives, and people living a life that is not like you look at it and it's shocking. You don't want to see people like that. But we'll be bringing you more on that in a moment. What you think about that as well? It's All Star Radio UK. Now, on the African continent, Sudan lifts state of emergency. Well, the demonstration have been going on, the crackdown have been going on as well, but it looks like this time around the military have decided to lift the ban. So Sudan's leading general lifted Sunday a state of emergency that imposed in the country following the October coup he led. The country experienced over the weekend yet another day of protest against the military coup. The ruling military authorities in Sudan lifted Sunday the state of emergency imposed since October military coup and recommended that people detained under emergency law shall be freed. Well, that is an olive tree branch that have been presented. So hopefully citizens will also present theirs as well or receive it accordingly, and then there will be peace. And let's move on to development as well. Andy Adun, yes, Andy Adun, good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us as well, and thank you very much for sharing and sharing and sharing. He says everybody share the broadcast so that it will reach everyone who needs to know exactly what is going on across the globe, especially in our confines as well. The fake tickets triggered Paris final chaos. So in France, the sports minister's comments come amid strong criticism of the policing of Saturday's Championship League final. And if you watch that, you ask yourself the question, so what exactly was going on? Pepper spray being sprayed in the faces of people. I mean, I saw some footage and then video footage, and I look at it and I'm like, now this young boy was just standing there waiting to be allowed to enter, and it was the policeman just took the spray and just sprayed his face. It wasn't maybe even speaking or being angry or being, no, nothing of the sort. But well, we'll be looking into all that. What did they see? Why did they treat us like that? Well, heavy fighting as Russia advances into key eastern city, and the Russian foreign minister denies Putin illness. Sergei Lavrov says the Russian president appears in public daily, and no sane person would think him ill. Okay, so if it's not ill, what's happening? All right then, maybe all this propaganda thing that seems to be going on, that seems to be what is happening. Yeah, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Elections run off for ex-rebel and Colombian Trumps. An ex-rebel and magnate likened to Donald Trump lead the first round of the presidential elections. What is going to happen there? We'll be looking into it in the moment. The Department of Justice will investigate and criticism that police waited to tackle the shooter. That is in the U.S. Texas state. All right then. And then, okay. Yes, listeners, just bear with me. All right then. Okay. Now, one final story before we take our musical break. Delays up. Charges down, crime victims speak out. A man with a disability says officers let him down and he has nothing left after being targeted by a gang. Okay, so this and a lot more going to be coming your way. Well, this week we're celebrating the Queen's 70th anniversary on the throne. So what about that? There's going to be lots of celebrations going on. But wherever you are, thank you very much. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining us in the next few moments. But enjoy this song that I brought your way earlier on. Noko Noko. Nothing that God can't do. Enjoy.
I see you.
because of course. There is nothing that our God can't do. So coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. On this wonderful Monday morning, here on Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Story that is making the rounds across the globe. And don't you go anywhere, don't you go anywhere, don't you go anywhere, don't you go anywhere. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi joining us in the next few moments.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 6 minutes past the top of the hour. Whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koike to join in, let me bring you some of the stories that is making the rounds from Nigeria as well. Whilst we wait for Yomi to join in to bring us those stories. Nigeria's presidential aspirant supports digital currency but calls for regulation. That's some of the stories coming through. Now, Edo political culture, the need for radical change, and then true federalism practice solution to nation's challenges. Varsity Dawn is also made a statement or a speech on that. For Oliza Agbakoba before the onset of autumn. Okorocha appears in court, pleads not guilty to 3 billion naira fraud. You know, interestingly, in Nigeria, we have people who have been taken to court or have been charged. However, we have them still saying that they are contesting. Okay, we have them so that they are saying that they are contesting in presidential elections, and you ask yourself the question. Okay. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi Koike coming live from Westminster. Because of the anniversary that's going on this week. Yeah, he's going to be around those areas and see we can measure the joy and the atmosphere in the country, or especially in London at the moment. Okay, so we'll be joining him in the next few moments. Now, gunmen attacked broadcast station in Anambra, Benz vehicles and buildings. Who are they, and what was happening on that front? Okay, and it's Biafra referendum. Yes, it's Biafra Remembrance Day. Biafra Remembrance Day. So we'll connect. We'll try to connect with some of the Biafrans, and then we'll look at all the agitation, the fight, the quest to still feeling that they are being marginalized to break away from the federal state. Okay, they want to go on their own separate ways. What can they do? What has been done so far? And is it that they are demanding so much, or is it that it's just they want their pound of flesh and they can't even have that? So what exactly is happening? We'll be looking into all that in the next few moments. Don't go away. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. All right then. Now let's move on straight to some of the others. Former Imo State Governor Rocha Okorocha on Monday finally appeared before a federal high court in Abuja, where he pleaded not guilty to the 2.9 billion naira corruption charges brought against him by the federal government. Okorocha, okay, let me take it. My apologies. Okorocha was on the 17 count charges accused of diverting 2.9 billion from Imo State government house accounts and that of Imo State local government joint accounts to private companies. We'll be looking into those stories in a moment. So don't you even think of going away at all. It is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. All right then. Let's move on to some other stories while Mr. Olayomi Koike lines up, and then we come your way with what the other stories that we'll be looking at from Nigeria looks like. Okay. We'll be looking into all that in the next few moments, but it is all coming away from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Those of you who have joined us on the platform, stay there, don't you go away. And now some other stories making the round. Gunmen attack Anambra broadcast station, as I did say earlier on. I will bring you more details about that story. What has brought about that? Gunmen attacking a broadcasting station, destroying, burning vehicles and destroying other equipment there as well. We'll be looking into those stories as we continue this morning. Okay. Well, some other stories that has broken in Nigeria as well. EFCC moves Okorocha to court. As we said, he's pleaded not guilty on that. It seems to be making the rounds in all the various news platforms. Now, article dramatic emergence causes panic in Tinubu's camp. Really, do you think Atiku can do anything better? Well, especially some supporters of the PDP or others saying that the middle belt and the south shouldn't vote for Atiku or any candidate from the north, because they think that it's still giving the northerners more power over every other part of the country. But what would be the way forward for Nigerians as a whole? It is all coming your way from Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Waya emerges Bono APGA governorship candidate. It's one of the stories there as well. And Nigeria CDC confirms 21 cases of monkeypox in 2022. What's happening there is one that is quite worrying, quite worrying on that front. But we'll be bringing you more on that front. And as I said, the gunmen who have attacked the radio station, a broadcast station, the assailant, according to reports reaching us, stormed ABS in the wee hours of Monday and set ablaze a building, a company bus, and another vehicle belonging to a staff who had worked overnight. No casualty was recorded in the incident, but reports had it that the gunmen brutalized the staff they met on the premises, inflicting injuries on them. Neither the government nor the State Police Command has yet commented on the attack. As at the time of filing the report by our correspondent down there, it is say a staff who spoke said on anonymity said they were being interrogated by security agents over the attack. He promised to give full details of the attack on them by the gunmen, as he had worked all night and witnessed the attack. It is worthy to note that Anambra Broadcasting Service, a state government-owned company, has been giving support to the state government in its fight against rampaging gunmen. Is it that? Or is it the reason why they've gone on? Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra has accused Fulani terrorists of killing Harira Jibril and their 4 children in Anambra State. Now, recall that some unknown gunmen have invaded some villages in Oramba, North, and Idemili, not local government areas of the state on Sunday. The gunmen reportedly killed a mother and 4 of her children at the Isolu village in Urumba North local government area and killed another man in Nanka in the same local council. It was learned that the gunmen also invaded Abetete in Idemili, North LGA, and killed 2 persons during the attack. Okay, so we are still waiting for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to line up his story. So whilst we are doing that, let me bring you or capture other stories that's making the rounds in other parts of the world, so that when he comes on, we'll be able to give him ample time for him to bring do all the presentation that's lined up for us today. Now, Sudanese leading general have lifted Sunday a state of emergency that was imposed in the country following the October coup he led. The country is experienced over the weekend yet another day of protest against the military coup. The ruling authorities in Sudan lifted Sunday the state of emergency imposed since October military coup and recommended people detained under an emergency law shall be freed. The decision by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, head of Sudan's ruling sovereign council, came hours after the Security and Defense Council, Sudan's highest body that decides on security matters, suggested. The news came the same days as the UN envoy of Sudan regretted the killing of 2 anti-coup protesters in Khartoum on Saturday. The 2 were killed during a protest in Khartoum, Kalakla neighborhood. Now, one was shot dead by security forces and the other suffocated after inhaling tear gas. According to the Sudan Doctors Committee, which is part of the pro-democracy movement, now calling for the violence to stop, Volker Perthes urged the authorities to engage in a peaceful way out of the crisis. Now, Saturday's protests were part of relentless demonstration across the country. Hundreds of people marched in the capital demanding the return of constitutional order. Medical groups say nearly 100 demonstrators were killed since the protests began late last year. And it's all coming your way from Star Radio UK. Just moving on to other parts of the world whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Don't you go away. I don't want you to miss anything on that front. With Sudan, I'm asking the question, do you think that will forestall, I mean, the authorities, I mean, presenting an olive branch? Do you think the citizens will accept that? And are they going to have elections? How soon will that also happen? It's some of the stories making the rounds in or on the African continent, especially in Sudan. Okay, Banjul residents react to MPs voting to end death penalty. Lawmakers in the Central African Republic voted on Friday to abolish the death penalty for the legislation to become law. President Faustin Archange has said there as well. And then some other stories making the rounds from the African continent. So DRC citizens in Goma welcome government sanctions against okay, let me get that story. Quite an interesting one. Whilst we wait for Olayomi Koiki, he is in Westminster setting up. Today is the Biafra college referendum day, or not celebrating Biafra. Okay, celebrating Biafra, and it is Biafra Remembrance Day. Biafra Remembrance Day. So, what are the activities that have been planned for this day? We'll be looking at that in a moment. Okay, now let's quickly move on to some other stories making the rounds, as I have said. Now, the decision by the Congo to cut ties with Rwanda has elicited mixed reaction. Now, Kinshasa on Friday halted all Rwandan flights from the country, alleging Kigali's involvement in supporting the M23 rebel group in the eastern part of the vast nation. Now, Rwanda Defense Force later said 2 soldiers had been kidnapped on patrol and were being held by the Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda, the FDLR. Another rebel group there as well. Let's see whether now we have got Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who is all ready, and I think I've got him. So let me just line him up nicely and let's move on to him. And yes, we have him on. And let me say good morning to you, Mr. Olayomi Koiki.
Well, a very good morning to you back in the studio, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear back in the studio.
Yes, loud and clear. How are you?
Well, it's good, a very bright, sunny day, Monday, the 30th of May. I'm doing very well. It's good to be back after almost 11 days away, from the broadcasting, but we've been working behind the scene, and it's good to be back after those 11 days. I'm doing very well. Quite a lot happening. As you know, the Queen Jubilee is coming up very soon. The whole area and the whole atmosphere. I'm going to be turning my camera on in just about a few minutes, but I'll come back slightly back again to you in the studio. And this is Star Radio UK live from the Westminster Palace, which is just rightly, behind me there, which again, one of the biggest icons. Right here, looking at the clock. I know you do tell us the clock so many times, but if you just look right there, it's telling you it's coming up to exactly 20 minutes past 11 a.m.
Yes, that is Big Ben for you. For those of you who are not in London and who doesn't know, that is our Big Ben. The clock that chimes when occasions arise. Okay, yes. Now, someone will say, well, we know that at times you broadcast from our studios in up London, North London, but you are now in Westminster. Apart from the Queen's Jubilee celebrations there, there is a Remembrance Day that is supposed to be going on. Are there any activities there, and what is it about? Say, go on.
Well, I might be walking back when we move the camera around. They've actually walked towards, number 10 Downing Street. They started the procession from there, but because we're running a little bit late, connecting to you, but we will catch up with them while we continue with all the updates. Quite a lot is happening right in Nigeria, and we're going to be discussing all that as well. I know we've been away for 11 days, But be rest assured for all our listeners, I know Archie have been saying a lot, but this Wednesday is all fully packed. But before that, I can tell you that yes, the Remembrance Day is actually taking place, from the Biafra that have started the procession, and that is happening across every part of the globe this morning, where the Biafrans, will be celebrating, those miserable havoc that took place during the genocide of the Biafra War, in 1967.
So they are celebrating the 1967 Biafran War. Now, how significant is that if we are looking at what is happening at the moment?
Well, it is very significant, as we can tell you. And the reason why it is significant is because, a lot of people, after reviewing what happened, during those times, are now asking the question, was it a massacre or was it just something that we could walk away with? For those that do not know what is it all about, I'm going to give us a quick, brief of what we know as the Biafra War that took place, when again is almost something that people are worried about when we talk about the really ongoing situation. On the 6th of July 1967 up to the 15th of January 1917, the Nigerian Civil War was a civil war fought between the government of the day in Nigeria and the Republic of Biafra, a secessionist state which had declared its independence from Nigeria in 1967. That is about to play again because so many people are now saying that we don't want to be part of Nigeria, and the reason for that is Nigeria is not working, but a lot of pressure is happening as we speak. But like I said, they're taking the possession down there. I'm going to turn my camera around so that then I can move along so that we can continue with the update. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. There might be a couple of movement, but be rest assured that we're doing everything possibly best to keep it going, especially to all our listeners that are following us from different parts of the globe and those that have missed this broadcast for a couple of days right now.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki reporting live from Westminster area where earlier he showed you a view of the Queen's Palace, okay? And then we had the Big Ben and then some of the edifices around that particular area. Well, there's a demonstration going on today on the Biafran Remembrance Day where they are now at the moment on the path to number 10 Downing Street to do their presentation to the Prime Minister there. We'll be trying our best to see how much whether we can get any information from them. But if you are listening to us, what do you think about what is happening at the moment? Because how many years on since 1967 the Biafrans have been they said they've been marginalized. They said whatever resources that they have in their areas have been actually just siphoned, and they don't seem to be benefiting from it the way they're supposed to. Now, do you think they're agitating that they're going to leave? They want to leave, and with all that is happening at the moment, do you think we're going to be seeing any peace in that area? And what is the end game? What is the end game? If there are leaders there, we want to know more about that. But let's go back to Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Okay, Yomi. Yes.
Once again, like I said, there will be a couple of movements. Bear with us. I'm just walking towards where the Biafrans are having their, peaceful possession this morning, and that is why there will be a couple of movements. But I will be giving the update. I know you've talked about it, but I can assure you that I have my hands all gripped very well, and I can give us all the updates. But let's come back again. But like I said, bear with us to all our listeners that might be watching us right this morning. And as you can see, always a very busy day. This is a week of the holiday as well, which has also linked up with the, with the Queen Golden Jubilee. As you can see right there, with all the flags that are ready right here, that is about to take place. Quite a lot of our family are right here as well. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And like I said, heavy security as well. As you can tell, when events are coming up in United Kingdom, there is quite a lot of security as well. But I'm going to be crossing the road, but let's continue with the update. And like I said, it is a very, very busy day for all many people, security. And when it comes to United Kingdom, you've got to remember that we've seen a lot of terrorist activities in the past, so they are not taking any chances. And that is why this morning, there's a lot of activities with the security and the arrangement. But like I said, Star Radio UK will be giving us all the updates from the news coming out of Nigeria. I will come back again slightly to you in the studio where we can continue with some of the headlines that we have. But let me come back again to you in the studio.
Okay, listeners, whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koike to cross the road, because it's quite a busy Monday morning, especially the week for the Queen's celebration, the 70th anniversary celebrations for her enthronement as the head. Okay, or the Queen. We'll be following it very closely, but we are trying to get close to where the Biafran protesters are at the moment, celebrating or marking how many years of the massacre, the war, the Biafran war that took place in 1967. We'll be looking more into that, and that will be 67. That's 55 years ago. 55 years ago. We'll be looking into all that.
Okay,
so,
I'll come back now to you.
Yes.
If you're ready.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Quite a lot happened over the weekend in Abuja, where the PDP eventually now had, their presidential primaries. A lot of, conversation took place, and eventually Atiku took the ticket under the PDP, while Tambua has to step down, and that means that, the chances for Wike, the current governor of Rivers State, is no longer going to happen. I heard you talking about Okorocha. Okorocha was also one of the presidential aspirants. But what happened over the, last week, which I'm sure you probably picked up the story, was that the EFCC decided to run after him right inside his house, just some 24 hours before the screening of the presidential, aspirant, for the convention. And eventually, like you said when I was listening to you, he has now appeared at the Federal High Court in Abuja for allegation of squandering billions of naira. Most of the governors, most of the activities in Abuja has not yet wind down, because we still have the APC convention that will be coming up very soon as well. We don't know who is going to be coming out in terms of the leadway for the APC. The president doesn't seem to be talking. The members of the APC are already, like you say, thinking, should the power return to the north, so that there will be more conversation. Peter Obi last week was in same year in the United Kingdom, right here in the building at number 10 Downing Street. We don't know what the meeting was all about, but we knew that just under 24 hours that Peter Obi returned back to Nigeria. What happened? He eventually pulled out as a presidential aspirant under the PDP. And right there is number 10 Downing Street, where Peter Obi was here at like last week. And then now he will be contesting under the Labour Party. And we're going to be giving a more update about that tomorrow, because by tomorrow we should have the final result between Peter Obi and Pat Utomi that will be contesting for the Labour Party. A lot is happening. And let me quickly give some of the more headlines. Like I said, the Biafrans have moved a little bit further. I can see them right there. And it looks like they're probably heading towards the Nigerian High Commission. We will catch up with them. But let me just stay here a little bit and bring it back to my face. And then we move a little bit forward. Let me just move a little bit slightly. And then we can then give more headline and update coming out of Nigeria. A very, very busy one when it comes to central London, as you can see. So this is right where Peter Obi was, like I said, just about a week ago, where he actually came to see the Prime Minister. And the question a lot of Nigerians are asking again is Britain still controlling who becomes the president of Nigeria? Does they have a kind of an influence? Let me bring it back to my face right there. And the question a lot of people are asking is, do we still see, Britain, that colonized Nigeria in 1914? Are they still in charge when it comes to who becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? As you know, Nigeria means a lot to different people around the world. Nigeria, as it is right now, there's a lot of pressure cooker. Like I said, we will catch up with the Biafra. I can already see their flags heading towards, I believe, the Nigerian High Commission, which is just about 100 meters away. But let me quickly give us some of the headlines coming out of Nigeria today. Not a very good news. Yesterday, 20 innocent lives were killed at a bomb blast in Kaba, in Kogi State. When we talk about accident, emergency response to that, 30, I'm not sure whether you saw the video, but in Port Harcourt, 30 innocent lives were killed during a stampede that took place in Port Harcourt. No response of any emergency at all, but some of the headlines coming out at exactly 11:30 on Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And like I said, right there behind me is where Peter Obi had a conversation with the British government, but we don't know what that conversation is all about. But we're still going to be waiting for who becomes the APC candidate. But already as well, the self-determination movement seems to become a very powerful message. I'm going to be talking about that later, where 5 million petition has now been completed in under 5 months yesterday. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Yes.
Yes. Listeners, Mr. Olayomi
I'm reporting back to the studio and I'm live.
Okay, whilst we wait for Yomi, I think he's interacting.
I'm reporting back to the news that is going on in Nigeria. Yes. I'm not part of the protest. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just a journalist. I've just told you that. And you're already interrupting my broadcast.
Okay. Listener, just bear with us. Mr. Olayomi is interacting with some of the. Okay.
I've already sorted that out.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just like I said. There's a lot of security around, and they just wanted to know whether we are part. I know it's a bit because of the military camouflage that I'm putting on. Like you can imagine, that could become something of a threat. Like I said earlier on, there's a lot of security arrangement happening here, especially the Queen's Jubilee is coming up as well. But that has already been sorted out. So let me give you some of the headline that is coming on, in the news out of Nigeria. Tinubu faces APC presidential screening today. Jonathan is missing. Remember that we were talking about Jonathan, whether Jonathan will be also part of APC. But it doesn't look that it's going to happen. Does that mean that Jonathan is no longer going to be a president candidate? Because what we do know is Jonathan's name is missing under the screening for the APC. So the headline says, and I quote, Tinubu faces APC presidential screening today. Jonathan missing on the list. Let's talk about some of the other headlines as well. Once again, if you've just joined us, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. EFCC produced a Okorocha in the court. What a very funny one. When EFCC came into his residence, he was actually calling Jesus Christ to rescue him. He will have to talk about Jesus Christ, about all the allegation on him. And he says here, EFCC produced Okorocha in the court, alleged for Tracy's trial. That is coming up as well. Sit at home. A roadside trading booms. Bank schools remain shut down. Remember that the Biafra have said that it is not mandatory for you to sit at home, but most Biafra are saying that we will continue to sit at home until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released from the custody of the DSS. So every Monday, and being a Monday of the Biafran Day, like I said, we're going to catch up with them if we can, when we continue moving forward. But sit at home is taking place in almost every part of Southeast this morning. And this is headline says, sit at home, roadside trading booms, bank and schools are all shut down in Imo State. Why Amechi won't pay delegate for both? There was a lot of exchange of dollars during the primaries that took place in Abuja. We also saw the EFCC attending that as well. Let me come back again, slightly back again to you in the studio so that we can look at some of these headlines. Then I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to continue moving. Like I said to all our listeners, it's just a security protocol. That was actually what took place. Nothing to be worried about. This is not Africa. This is not Nigeria, where the police do harass innocent citizens. We are just doing our job as a media, and there's no concern about that. So I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, and I'm going to turn the camera around again.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi in Westminster, bringing you a live feed from there. It is the Biafran Remembrance Day, and 55 years after that massacre that took place during the Biafran War in 1967. A bit of history for you, and therefore we have Mr. Olayomi who is following the protesters to capture what is going on there. And again, with the Queen's Jubilee taking place over this week, the commemoration, a lot of issues going on there. So he's in town. There are lots of tourists tourists in town who are going around as well. And I mean, of course, we have security in that part of the world as well, trying to make sure that everything ticks along nicely. So wherever you are, we are okay. We are okay. Mr. Olayomi Koiki is okay. Now, Yomi, let's come to the election of what do we call him? The PDP presidential Abubakar. We know that people have been talking about the ceding of the presidency to the south. Okay, so even to the southeast, let me put it that way. But it doesn't seem that the PDP has listened to that. So what do you think is going to happen?
Well, that might create a lot of conversation. And already, I've already seen the middle belt saying that no one should be voting for Atiku. We're waiting for the Ohanize social cultural group to be responding to that as well. Remember that the southeast has not produced any president since 1999, not even a vice president. So the expectation where the rotation should have been that the presidency should be coming to the southeast. But it doesn't look like the PDP is looking into that. And that is one of the reasons, again, that we believe that Peter Obi do not have the chance to win under the PDP. And that is why he has actually moved to the Labour Party. We will have to wait and see in the next couple of days where APC will be zoning their presidential as candidate too. But for now, PDP has indicated that Atiku Abubakar will be leading them towards the election that is coming up, even though we know there's still a lot of conversation when it comes to the social, the self-determination groups that are saying that election is not going to hold in Nigeria in 2023.
Okay, now let's come quickly to Okorocha. Now, Okorocha, where does he hail from? Is it the south?
I hope you can hear me back in the studio.
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear. Now, I was talking about Okorocha. Where does he hail from? The south?
Hello, Mr. Archie?
Yes, we can hear you, Yomi. Hello, Yomi? Hello, Yomi? Okay, listen, just bear with us. We can hear Mr. Olayomi Koiki, but it seems that he cannot hear us. Hello, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Okay.
Can you hear me back in the studio, Mr. Archie?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. Hello?
Okorocha is,
yes, go on.
Okorocha is actually Okorocha is from the south. Is from the southeast.
So, from the southeast. So do you think that,
from the southeast.
Yeah, so do you think that it's a ploy? Because you know that people were pushing for a southerner, somebody from the south or the southeast to be nominated as the leader of their party. Now, is it a ploy to derail his presidential ambition? That's why somebody might have, gotten the EFCC. Look at the timing of his arrest and he being presented to the courts. Is it something to just derail his presidential ambition?
Well, that is the belief of some of his followers that the arrest of Okorocha towards the last minute of the presidential screening has actually had to do with his chances of being nominated. Even though Wike himself, had a lot of opportunity, a lot of money has been spent into this campaign, but yet Wike himself could not, finish up the job to become, the next, candidate of the PDP, because Tambua, that is from the north, has actually stepped down for Atiku, and that means all the delegates that had to do with Tambua eventually had to vote for Atiku.
Wow. Okay.
I believe that the Biafrans are right here at the Nigerian embassy. I believe so. We're just going to look at it and then we continue with the update. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. I'm sorry for the movement for those that are watching us from different part of the globe.
Okay, listeners, just bear with us because we're trying to make sure that we bring you everything. You don't miss anything on this live broadcast that is coming your way from Westminster, where Mr. Olayomi Koiki, our correspondent, is there. Covering the Remembrance Day of the Biafrans. Okay. Now, Yomi, whilst you are making your way there, let me just quickly ask you a question now about the Biafran Remembrance Day. Now, when you have the chance, because I wanted to find out from them whether if they have a presidential candidate or a president from that part of the world, the southeast, it will appease them.
Not literally, maybe the Biafrans, but we do know that the Ohanize do have what we can call, that they wanted the presidency to be coming to the southeast. But definitely, it seems that is not going to happen now because the PDP, like I said, have now zoned, their ticket to the north. And that means that, from what people are saying, it seems, I believe that they're probably right inside Trafalgar Square. They are not right here in the embassy, but I will be going around the other side to pick up the signal from that as well. Okay. So, you're going to pick up the signal from the other side, which is just about some few meters away, where the Trafalgar Square, where I believe they're probably right there. So let's continue back. Yes, your question, the Biafrans do not have anything to do with any of the candidates. They want a peaceful exit out of Nigeria, and this is right there, the Nigerian High Commission in London. But like I said, the Biafrans are not here, but we will catch up with them on the other side. So I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, and then we're going to take some more headlines again in the next couple of minutes.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in central London at the moment, just in front, those of you watching, that is the Nigerian High Commission in London. On the other side, he'll be walking towards the Trafalgar Square as well. But wherever you are, it is Starr Radio UK, updates from Nigeria on the 55
I can
years
hear you. I'm not sure
anniversary.
whether you can still hear me back in the studio.
We can hear you loud and clear, Yomi. We can hear you loud and clear. Okay. So, those are pictures of London. For those of you who have not been to London or who don't live in London, these are pictures of central London where Mr. Olayomi Koiki is at the moment, crossing the road. See how everything is, perfect.
I can hear you back, yes. Mr. Archie. If you can hear me, I can hear you back in the studio.
Okay. Yomi, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear. Hello, Yomi? Hello, Yomi? Okay, listener, just bear with us. Let's bear with us whilst we try to still get Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. Okay, playing something in the background, something from the Biafrans. Today is their Remembrance Day, 55th anniversary of the Biafran War that took place in 1967. So some music there for you. But let's see whether we can get Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Hello, Yomi. Hello, Yomi. Hello, Yomi. Okay. Those are some of the red buses in London. So you ask yourself, if Africans are watching, if our people who have not traveled are watching, what can they do for us to improve our lives? The orderliness, how things tick along nicely. Look at the streets, everything ticking along nicely there. Okay, but let's see whether we can hear Mr. Olayomi Koiki now. Hello, Yomi.
I hope you can still hear me back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, loud and clear, We can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. We don't seem to hear him, but okay. Enjoy the song while I try to connect with it. Biafra digi de we ro we bi. Ikwere na Biafra. Ikwere na Biafra. Wenye mo fakagenu. Ikwere na. Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. Olayomi, can you hear me? Hello, Olayomi. Okay, those of you in your shots at the moment, that is Trafalgar Square, where we hope that the protest has reached at the moment. But let's see whether Olayomi can hear us. Hello, Yomi. Hello, Yomi. Okay. Okay. Hello, Olayomi. Hello, Yomi. Okay. It doesn't seem to hear us. Okay, so those are some of the tourists in central part of London. Okay.
All right. I hope you can hear me back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello, Olayomi. Okay, it is Starr Radio UK, Monday, the 30th day of May 2022. With the time now exactly at TikTok 11:47. Just bear with me whilst we try to get Mr. Olayomi back, and we can hear him, we can see him as well.
I'm not sure whether you can hear me. I can't hear you at all back here.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, we're right here now. I know it's been a long one, but we finally catch up with them, and that is their possession that is happening right here, right in front of the famous Trafalgar Square. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. We will definitely try and catch up to see if we can bring one or two of them to speak with us. But I can still come back again to you in the studio. Before doing that, should we have any more conversation before that?
Okay, thank you very much once again, listeners, for tuning in and having the patience, because this is a live broadcast coming your way from Westminster, where Mr. Olayomi is at the moment. At the moment, he's at the Trafalgar Square, where the protesters, the Biafran protesters, are at the moment. He will try to have a conversation with them and interview a one-on-one with them. But for now, let's look at some of the other stories. Okay, Yomi, a quick one before you have a chat with them. So what are some of the other stories making the rounds there in Nigeria, please?
Well, quite a lot of different other stories. Let's go back into some of those other stories, and then we go into. There was quite a lot of complaint, when it comes to foreign exchange because of the PDP convention that took place in Abuja over the weekend. Kabars benefited from petrol import, frustrating local refinery is coming from the headline. Also, banks tighten forex access as reserve 7-month low. As we speak right now, not a lot of money is being made because of the crisis happening all over the world. But what I can say is there is what we call low when it comes to the forex of Nigeria. So that means that the banks is now tightening up a little bit as well. So let me go back again to some of the other airlines as well. Lagos continue to crack down and demolish 7 buildings in Mushin local government as well. I'm going to go straight to what is happening and what is trending on the social media, and then going to come back again as we speak today right now. And then I'm going to go back. Before doing that, let me tell us that remember that there was a 5 million petition that was asked to be signed by the Yoruba people around the world. I can now confirm to you that 5 million has been completed, and some of the headlines coming from the Twitter this morning at UK_Ilana, an independent, economically viable, sociable, responsible, environmental friendly, technology-driven, strong, healthy, and sustaining Yoruba nation has been born with over 5 million signatures. We can now protect our territory, resources, language, culture, and heritage. So that is coming as well. Bear with us with quite a lot of the background noise for those that are listening to us, but we're going to do that as quickly as possible while we see if we can get one person to speak to us from the Biafra. Atiku is trending at number 2 this morning, and I'm sure you know the reason why the Atiku is trending is because Atiku is now what we call the presidential aspirant for the PDP, and that is going to mean that APC would have to find somebody to fight as well against that. So let's look at some of the response and those that have been talking about it in the last almost 48 hours. And according to Reno Oduala, I am glad Pat Utomi and Peter Obi are running for the presidential ticket. Now we are talking competence. A lot of the youth in Nigeria are thinking that having a Peter Obi will be much better than having an Atiku or APC. I need somebody to speak on the radio. Quick. I need somebody to speak on the radio.
Okay, listeners, Mr. Olayomi is trying to arrange someone to speak on the radio. He'll be having a chat with the person. Okay, Yomi, yes.
So we're gonna just get one of the Biafra to speak to us quickly while we. While we then, let me quickly continue while he's getting himself ready. Southern Middle Belt leaders reject Atiku candidacy, says the South must produce the next president. We now have someone, and they can hear you loud and clear back in the studio. And let me come back now to you in the studio so that you can speak to him directly. Once again, this is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, where we have one of these representatives of the Biafran event that is taking place today. And then let's continue with the question before we wind down from the studio. Let's come back again to you now.
Okay, listen to Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 8 minutes to the top of the hour, and we have got one of the representatives of the Biafrans who are commemorating the Remembrance Day today in London. So let me go to him quickly. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, okay, good. Now, what is your name, please?
My name is Prince.
Okay, Prince, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, for the sake of our listeners across the globe, what is the significance of this Remembrance Day of the Biafrans? What is the significance of it?
Yeah, the significance is that there is why our people we lost about 5 million of our people during the Nigerian civil war, which they said is a civil war, but it's a genocide, because if you see that what happened during the civil war, the whole world, the news that was given to the whole world was that it's a civil war. But if you look at what happened, we lost about 2 million children, about 3 million men and women in that.
Just help me out for 10 seconds. It's recording. Which one copy?
All Europe so before we come today, that we want the whole world to know that this all Europe happened in Nigeria, and it has been covered for years, that the whole world doesn't know what happened then. And like today, that the Holocaust of the Jews, that we remember very big. But that Biafran Nigerian civil war, was not never mentioned anywhere. Nigeria made sure that it was taken away out of the history. The world will not know what is happening. But we Biafran are out to make the whole world understand what is going on, and that we are celebrating it this year until our nation Biafra is being restored.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, one question before, because I know that there's a bit of noise in the background, but so what will appease Biafrans? What will appease you? Is it a presidential, having somebody from the southeast who is the president of Biafra, who is the president, or is it, what do you want?
Definitely, as of this moment, Nigeria has been polarized with terrorism coming from the north, and the intention is to make sure that they conquer all the ethnic nations in Nigeria. The Fulani, they brought in all Fulani from West Africa. They want to naturalize them as a Nigerian citizen, and that is being supported by Nigerian government. That's the reason why everybody is tired of what is going on in Nigeria. Everybody wants their own nation as of this moment. What we need is to restore Biafra, and the citizens want their nation to be restored too, because everybody has seen that what is going on in Nigeria now is a terrorism, just terrorism, and not that it's just happening from our side. It's the government in power, led by Buhari, and his cohort are the one that is sponsoring it. Because they are giving the terrorists what is called Operation Safe Corridor. And the terrorists are
radio, okay? I'm recording it.
So the whole security apparatus of Nigeria all compromised completely as we speak at this moment. So that is the reason why we Biafrans, we want Biafra, we don't want presidency. Presidency is dead on arrival. Restructuring is dead on arrival. As of this moment, we cannot restructure with the terrorists coming from Sahel, from all over the whole world into Nigeria. We cannot restructure with people we don't know. We want our lives back.
Okay.
That's the reason why, as of this moment, we don't want presidency at all.
Okay, Prince,
All
let
we
me.
need is
Okay,
Biafra.
okay, Prince. Okay, Prince. Just a quick one. Yeah, just a
sacrifice.
Listeners, just bear with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want, there's a speech about to go on. I can pick that about just about a few minutes.
Yeah.
So important. So let's pick that a bit, and then we might come back maybe to Prince later as well.
Yes.
Our departed Biafra. And today, being
listeners, just bear with us. We seem to have lost the visual, but okay, just bear with us, listeners. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're trying to get Mr. Olayomi Koiki back. Yes, let me see whether I can get him now. Yes, loud and clear. Okay.
So let's move a little bit closer to get that message going on now. Dr. Okashi to lead the Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And this is the live.
To say the prayer, being a bishop. But
so I'm going to come back again to you in the studio in just about 30 seconds. But like I said, now the possession has actually started here for the Remembrance Day. And I know we're going to have to go now back in the studio. But let me come back again to you, Mr. Archie.
Okay. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. We'll allow them go on a bit. Yeah, let's give them up to about 5 minutes past 12, and then we can cross over. So let's still have the footage from Mr. Olayomi's place. Okay, over to you, Yomi.
Can you give us 10 seconds to speak on the radio? All right, just for us to quickly, we finish it up. Let's get somebody else to speak. We're going to move a little bit because of the noise there, so that you can just have 1 or 2 last minutes with him. And then we can end the broadcast because I know we've taken so much time on the studio this morning. But right there, I say good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us on Starr Radio UK. If you'd like to tell us your name for the benefit of our listeners that are watching us from all over the world, and actually the reason why we are here on the 30th of May, right here in London.
Okay, thank you very much, Koiki Media. I'm very glad that you are here today. I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Dr. Onyeka Ekekwe. I'm the Deputy National Coordinator of IPOB in the UK. I reside in Aberdeen, Scotland. So the reason why we're here today is that we Biafrans, we have a custom in our place that we have to honor our day on the 30th of May, which is our Independence Day. The day Biafra was declared in the year 1967. So we have a lot of men.
You understand? Yes. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay,
yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So we have we honor today being 30th of May 2022 as a Remembrance Day. As you all are aware, in 1960, May 30th, 1967, when Biafra was declared as a sovereign nation. That led to a brutal war between Biafra and Nigeria that lasted about 30 months. And Biafra lost close to 5 million of their citizens in a brutal war. Largely because of the economic blockade orchestrated by Britain against the Biafra people. And that led to the death of 5 million Biafrans. So, as is customary every year, on the May 30th, we remember those 5 million people that died, that paid the ultimate sacrifice during the Biafran-Nigerian war. And also, the war has continued because our people continue to be killed in their thousands by Islamic jihadists in Nigeria. You know, in the north, we know what's happening in Nigeria today. Recently, a Christian called Deborah Samuel was murdered in Sokoto because of, in quote, blasphemy, which is not supposed to be. So, and a lot of our Biafrans living all over Nigeria suffer wanton loss of their property and life without any provocation. So today we are here to honor all of them that have died and paid ultimate sacrifice that we may live.
Thank you so much. We're going to take one question back in the studio. We're live on Star Radio UK. I'm going to come back again to you back, Mr. Archie, in the studio. This is Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And if you have a question for our gentleman here, I'll let you to go ahead, Mr. Archie.
Yes. Just a quick one. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Now, I want to find out, it looks like you have some splinter groups that is happening in the Biafran area. We have the Ohaninze, and we have the IPOP, and we have others. So it looks like you're not coming out from a united front to push your agenda. And people are thinking that, oh no, these are not people who are serious. So what are you going to say about that?
Okay, what I would say about that is say our Biafrans, we are Republicans. Okay, we respect every people's view and opinion.
Our deputy national
okay, I know they've been calling him now, so I'm just going to let him go.
Yeah.
But maybe just under 30 seconds, if you just quickly wrap it up.
I will come back now because I'm about to start the prayer, which is very all important prayer.
Yeah.
Our hero. I'll be back. So I'll come back and answer your question.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, as you can see, it's a very busy one here. And as you can see, quite a lot of people will continue to wonder what is going on. But some are already familiar with this every year. May 30 is not just happening here, it's actually happening across the globe. And if you remember, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still in the custody of the DSA. And likewise, in southeast Nigeria today is what they call a total key and lock. Nobody's moving anywhere. And as you can see right there, some of the members, followers, not just of the Biafran, but those that believe that genocide took place in 1967 are now going to remember 5 million people that were killed. This is Star Radio UK. I'm going to come back again now to you in the studio.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koike in central London. It's 3 minutes past 12, but today is a very special day for the Biafran nation who are celebrating the 55th anniversary of this war that took place, the civil war in Nigeria. Now, let me ask you, Yomi, do you know if the federal government in Nigeria have instituted maybe a day where they celebrate the loss of lives for this war that took place? Is there anything of the sort?
Well, that's a question that you got to remember that literally led to, why Twitter actually had to suspend, the president's account because of the way he said the circle in the .o. And again, the government of Nigeria have not actually really recognized, the Biafra Day as it's meant to be, because they still believe that the war was probably maybe legitimate, even though 5 million innocent lives were killed. And today, we hope that, the world will continue to be told the real story of what took place in 1967, where millions of people were killed.
Interesting. Well, listeners, if you are listening to us, I will ask you the question: the genocide or the Second World War, the number of Jews who were killed there, and look at various wars that have taken place. Where have they been killed? 5 million people losing their lives to a war, and there is nothing that the state is saying about it. How do you bridge or bring people together under such situation? This and a lot more we're going to be looking at from Star Radio UK. But at the moment, let me go back to Yomi so that we'll see whether he'll be able to run up the conversation, or if he has any other stuff he wants to add to the broadcast this morning. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, we're back again, and then tomorrow we'll continue with more updates from Star Radio UK, and we're going to be taking you. But as I can say, that the Oduduwa has now completed the 5 million petition, and the next question is what next? What next means that a 5 million Yoruba people now also believe in the determination of a way forward out of Nigeria. Let me give us a quick statistics. In 1966, when the coup took place, it was only 50 people that determined the fate of millions of Nigerians. In 2011, only 1.2 million people voted in Lagos State. And the question a lot of people are now saying is 5 million is more than enough to exit out of Nigeria. It's going to be quite an interesting one. I'm going to be giving, the countdown as we continue. But Wednesday, we will have a full more conversation. But I'm going to come back to you now so that we can end it finally. But tomorrow, I'll be back again on Starr Radio UK. But we're still going to be here. For those that will be following us, we're going to be transmitting. You can follow us on all our platforms. But for now, I say have a very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie, and to all our listeners around the globe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Yes, listeners, the broadcast will be going on the other platforms as well. Koiki Media will be still carrying that on Starr Radio UK. It will be going on alongside the live broadcast from the studios as well. But Yomi, have a wonderful day, and we'll catch up later.
Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki in central London, bringing you updates from Nigeria. And today happens to be the 55th anniversary of the Biafran war that took place, that massacre. 5 million people massacred. Was it genocide? Was it just a civil war like what was happening in what do you call that place, Liberia and Sierra Leone that took place? What do you think about all those things that happened? What is the way forward? Well, 55 years on, the nation or the federal government has not instituted a day that, look, this is a day of reflection where we look at that particular incident that happened. So we sit down, a Biafran day, and then think about what happened to the Biafrans. Why has nothing of the sort been done? And if you are listening to us, what do you think about that? Is it fair? How many people lives were lost during the Second World War? What has been done about that? We see how the Jews are being protected because of this, okay? Lives that were lost. Every life matters. Now, 5 million lives lost and nothing. Nobody seems to care. What do you think? Let's take this song from the Biafrans. It's one of the motivational songs, and then we'll continue with the show. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
We love and cherish beloved homeland of our great heroes. We must defend our lives or we shall perish. We must protect our soul from all our foes. But if the price is dead for all we hold dear, then let us die without a shred of fear. Land of the rising sun, we love and cherish, beloved homeland of our great heroes. We must defend our lives or we shall perish. We must protect our souls from all our foes. But if the price is there for all we hold dear,
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
Nkwutani na nkwutabu ụjọ, anyị ke nkwutani na nkwutabu ụjọ. Onye ndị iro na-achụgharị na-eche ndụ ya eche mgbe niile. Ndị iro gbara anyị okirikiri, ụmụnne m. Ndị iro gbara anyị gburugburu, Biafra. Anyị ga-eke nkwutani na nkwutabu ụjọ. Anyị ke nkwutani na nkwutabu ụjọ. Onye ndị iro na-achụgharị na-eche ndụ ya eche mgbe niile. Kama mụ ga-abụrụ sabo ka nwa n'ihu agha, ka nwa n'ihu agha, ka nwa n'ihu agha. Kama mụ ga-ezogharị ba ka nwa n'ihu agha, ka nwa n'ihu agha. Obi ga-adị m mma. Kama mụ ga-abụrụ sabo ka nwa n'ihu agha, Kamwaniwala, Kamwaniwala, Kamamuge Zohariba, Kamwaniwala, Kamwaniwala, Obiga di Muma, Wande Kamamuga Bunu Sabo, Kamwaniwala, 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 Kamamuga Bunu Sabo, Kamwaniwala, Kamwaniwala, Obiga di Muma, Kamamuga Bunu Sabo, Kamwaniwala, 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 Kamamuge esogharịba ka nwanyị wagha obi ga-adị m mma. Abụ m nwokorobịa arụ siri m ike achọ m iji wagha ka nje nọrọ na nna m agha. Abụ m nwokorobịa arụ siri m ike achọ m iji wagha ka nje nọrọ na nna m agha. Nwasisi m chọrọ ịnụ ọsị meje na agha. Nwa bebi m chọrọ ịnụ ọsị meje na agha. Meri si meje na agha. Meri nwanyị mma. Meri si meje na ọgụ. Meri nwanyị ọma. Meri si meje na ọgụ. Meri nwanyị mma. Meri si meje na agha. Meri nwanyị ọma. Mụ na meje agha. Meri nwanyị mma. Mmiri ga-akwụrụ gị. Meri nwanyị ọma. Mụ na meje ọgụ. Meri nwanyị mma. Mmiri ga-abịakwa mee gị. Meri nwanyị ọma. Meri si meje na agha. Meri nwanyị mma. Meri si meje na ọgụ. Meri nwanyị ọma. Putinyanka, ụmụ Biafra, ụmụ Biafra, kwadobe kaje busa dịrị agha.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Egwu agha atụ anyị nọ n'aka
In your car, at work,
At home.
on your smartphone.
n'aka Chineke. Unu kwadobe
Tune in to On Point here on Star Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Welcome back to the program. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. But it's quite an interesting morning, and I'm asking myself the question of just pondering over it. Now, if 5 million people lost their lives in 1967, that is a huge chunk of people who have lost their lives in that particular area. Now, 55 years on, and these people are still agitating, and nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Well, as you know, whilst we were on air with some of the reps there, one of them did mention the fact that ceding the presidency to them will not sort their issue out. Now, what do you think is the way forward? If you are listening to us and you hail from that particular area, you've got the Ohene and Zay, you've got the IPOB, you've got various splinter groups, and then a divided front. How do you fight the cause? Well, the cause, I mean, let me hear from you what you think about it. But it's now 13 minutes past the top of the hour, and in the next 12 minutes, let me put it that way, or 15 to 20 minutes, we should be crossing over to Cyprus, where we'll be having HRH Linda Pallien, and today she's going to be talking about how to deal with money worries in your career and business. How to deal with money worries in your career and business. And this is a time that people need that information. Really, it's very, very important. So wherever you are, don't you go away. But now let's look at some of the other stories making it around, as I did say earlier on. In Ghana, a quick one from there. I'll just try to touch on one story from there, and then we will move on from there. So from Ghana, MPP will overcome current economic hardship and win the 2024 elections. That is what the Member of Parliament for Abetifi constituency in the Eastern region, Brian Champon, says current economic hardship in the country has reduced the trust of Ghanaians in the ruling New Patriotic Party. He is, however, optimistic that measures implemented by government will bounce back the economy, which, together with the track records of President Akufo-Addo, the MPP will win 2024 presidential election. In a quote, he said, "People are broken-hearted in this country, and the only reason why they are broken-hearted is because they trusted us, but the current hardship we are facing now is beyond Ghana. It is something that is brazen through across the world, and we have our fair share, and I'm telling you that we are going to come around that curve, and we are going to win the 2024 elections hands down." Okay, now it goes on further to say, "I'm not perturbed, I'm not afraid. I believe that we can do it. We have the records of His Excellency, and I'm not too worried about breaking the 8. I know that 2024 is another election, and we have the record to stand on and we are going to win that election, he said. Well, as some people would say, it's easier said than done. In a Ghanaian parlance, and they say, so what are they doing to put in place? They said, well, government has put measures in place and they think that could win them. That could win them another term. Do you think that's going to happen? Or are Ghanaians now wisen up and thinking, this political politicians, are we even, do we have to even trust them? They come to say A and they go on to do B. What do you think about that? Now, majority of films are bagging over Parliament broke comment. Well, let me bring you that story and then we'll leave Ghana. The majority in Parliament has accused Speaker of Parliament, Abang Bagben, of impatience following his claim that the legislature is broke. He spoke, it told the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, not to treat Parliament like the Municipal and District Assembly by asking for budget cuts and starving the institution of funds. Now, addressing the media on Friday in Parliament, the Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, disclosed that an outstanding 25 million Ghana cedis has been released to Parliament. Now, these delays are not new to Parliament. More often than not, a lot have been done by the leadership. Here, I am talking about, my apologies, the two leaders. I was in touch with Majority Leader before he left for Kumasi. He gave me a heads up in terms what communication had gone on the releases to Parliament. He tells me that the Clerk of Parliament and the Chief Accountant Officer done so they all have foreknowledge with processes involved in the fact that the releases have been done. I'm talking about the 25 million Ghana cedis outstanding for goods and services to Parliament. Mr. Anodompre explained. Well, we hope that has been done. But the Ghanaian, the ordinary Ghanaian on the street, working hard. Whatever is going on, how does it actually impact their own economy? Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One other story from other parts of the world and then we move on. Now, fake tickets triggered Paris final chaos. Last Saturday there was the finale of the Champions League that took place in Paris. But the information that has come true and some footage that have been seen, video footages, shows people who were being sprayed by with pepper spray and all sorts that happened. Now, France Sports Minister has said fans without tickets caused initial crowd problems at the Champions League final in Paris. Now, despite strong criticism of the event's policing on Saturday, Amélie Oudéa-Castéra blamed the mass gathering of supporters with fake tickets for the chaos at the stadium. She also said local youth trying to force their way in made things worse. But UK's culture secretary described the police response as deeply concerning and has urged an inquiry. Now, French police have been criticized for firing pepper spray and tear gas at some Liverpool fans as they waited to get into the stadium on Saturday evening. Now, police have also been accused of disorganization in the handling of the large crowds of people attempting to access the Stade de France. The final was delayed by 35 minutes by the trouble outside the stadium, with Liverpool losing the match against Spain. Real Madrid 1-0. Ms. Oudéa-Castéra's comment came ahead of meeting on Monday with the French Sports Ministry, Europe's football governing body UEFA, and the French Football Association, stadium officials and police to draw lessons from the events. But this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. At least no casualties were reported there. Yeah, so far. All right then, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, Partygate published Prime Minister's wife's text over number 10 events. That's what Labour is calling for. Now, Labour has called for text messages sent by Boris Johnson's wife about potentially rule-breaking events in the Downing Street flat to be published. In the Sunday Times, there is evidence Carrie Johnson organized a gathering for the Prime Minister's 56th birthday in their flat on 19th June 2020. Now, Labour Deputy Leader Angela Rayner demanded an investigation and urged the Prime Minister to come clean. But Minister Chris Phillips said there was no need to look into the claims. No need. What do you think? Well, and a spokesperson for Mrs. Johnson said senior civil servant Sue Gray had been aware of the text exchanges while carrying out her inquiry into Downing Street parties. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, as well as Chancellor Rishi Sunak, were fined by police last month for breaking COVID rules when they attended a brief 56th birthday celebration for the Prime Minister in Downing Street Cabinet Room on the afternoon of the 19th of June 2020. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. That's Bojo for you. Okay, now a couple of stories before we cross over to Cyprus, where our lady HRH Linda Pallien is to join us today on Career 101, where she's going to be dealing with how to deal with your money worries in your career and businesses. Okay. Now, if you are brainy and you intend coming to the UK to come and study or anything of that, graduates from the world top universities will be able to apply to come to the UK and their new visa scheme. The government says the high potential individual route, which opens on Monday, will attract the brightest and best early in their careers. Now, the scheme will be available to alumni of top non-UK universities who graduated in the past 5 years. Graduates will be eligible regardless of where they were born and will not need a job offer in order to apply. Now, successful applicants will be given a work visa lasting 2 years if they hold a bachelor or master's degree, and 3 years if they hold a PhD. They will then be able to switch to other long-term employment visas if they meet certain requirements. Well, so that is what is happening there. Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So if you intend coming to work, high brainy person, well, high skilled labor required here in the UK. Now, we know the Queen's anniversary, 70th anniversary is taking place over the weekend. Members of the royal family will be joining communities at Jubilee themed tea parties in honor of the Queen's 70-year reign. Much of the nation will celebrate the Platinum Jubilee over a 4-day bank holiday weekend from the 2nd to the 5th of June. The Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall will attend a lunch at the Oval Cricket Ground in South London. Berkshire residents will also be joined by Earl and Countess of Wessex for a lunch near Windsor Castle. More than 85,000 people have signed up to host big Jubilee lunches, the official celebration for the Queen's 70-year reign. Are you going to be having a bash party or a bash for the Queen in your area? Well, Prince Charles and Camilla will see a 6-meter felt piece of art featuring the platinum pudding, platinum pudding, Scotch eggs and fruit platters at the Oval. It has been made by artist Lucy Sparrow, who recreated the crown jewels in felt to celebrate the Queen's official 90th birthday, and will be displayed in the entrance to Buckingham Palace later this year. More than 600 international big Jubilee lunches are being planned across the world, including in Canada, Brazil, and New Zealand. Well, those are some of the stories making the rounds this morning. It is Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One final story and then we'll cross over to Cyprus. Don't you worry, my apologies. There will be no calls today. Tomorrow we'll have the time to do that because we're doing a special coverage for the 55th anniversary celebration of the Civil War that took place in Nigeria. That's so it's a Biafra Remembrance Day. What lessons have been learnt? Do the people still feel marginalized? And a lot that took place there. Do we want to go back into a civil war? Everybody will say no. But look at the attacks that is taking place daily in that part of the world, and you ask yourself the question: what is the way forward. Some of my friends will say, which way Nigeria? Okay, a woman who felt forced to track down her stolen car, leading to her being threatened by a man with a crowbar, a man with disabilities who saw police failings to lead him being targeted by a gang and repeatedly beguiled. They are among the victims of crime who say they are being left in despair and forced to do their own detective work while facing significant delays for police help. Now, research indicates forces are taking an average of 3 minutes longer to attend serious offences in England and Wales compared to 6 years ago. And while the government has repeatedly said crime is a key priority, some forces are facing criticism for not investigating lower level offences. Now, data obtained from the 22 police forces in England and Wales suggested officers are now 28% slower to attend the most serious emergencies after receiving 999 calls than 6 years ago. And then the other one, recorded crimes leading to a charge or court summons fell annually for 7 years up to March 2021. The proportion of these crimes leading to a charge or court summons fell 40% from 2015 to 2021. However, a fall in many crimes and better reporting and recording of offences in recent decades may explain this trend. Investigation has spent months talking to people about the experiences of reporting a crime. Now, if you have listened to me, the question is, how have you fared when such situation has gone on? Do you feel that you call the police and they are there trying to see to address issues for you? What do you think? This all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. One story and then we go away. Now this time round from Northern Ireland. The Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, has dismissed a meeting of the Assembly to elect a new speaker as a stunt. Now, Sinn Féin proposed a recall last week, supported by Alliance and the Social Democratic and Labour Party, the SDLP. But a new speaker and the first and deputy first minister cannot be installed without a DUP support. Now, Sinn Féin's deputy leader, Michelle O'Neill, said voters wanted action, not protest. Speaking in the assembly, she said DUP standoff is with the public, not the European Union. The standoff is with those people crippled, in pain, waiting for treatment and surgery on the NHS, and who voted for us to tackle the waiting list by investing an extra £1 billion in health. But the DUP's Paul Given said the recall of the assembly was another attempt at majority rule, and that the public will see it as hypocrisy on the part of Sinn Féin. Now, the final story said the SDLP nominated Patsy McGlone to be speaker, while the Ulster Unionist Party, the UUP, nominated Mike Nesbitt. Now, Alliance Party Assembly member MLA, that is Nola McAllister, said the move by the DUP to block the election of a speaker stinks of egotism. Now, she said the party will support either candidate for the post. There is much talk today about the protocol for the unionist community, about issues for the unionist community, but actually the hardship right across Northern Ireland now are not just affecting just one section of our community, they are affecting everyone, she said. I hope, well, that if the DUP fails to attend and cause the Northern Ireland the Stormont to meet and deliberate on issues pertaining to the people and make sure they are governing the people, then I bet if any election is called, they should be whipped pants down. What do you think? Well, listeners, this is Starr Radio, okay? We're going to take a quick commercial break and I'll take you straight to Cyprus, where we have our own, the one and only HRH Linda Pallien. Stay tuned and don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Okay, so now let me take you to Cyprus, where we have HRH Linda Pallien, who is already get up to bring us the Career 101. So stay tuned, don't you go away. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
But you sort of need the backing of the powers that be. And until that is the case, it seems like, yes, of course, you can have the greatest invention, but if it doesn't serve the interests of the powers that be, it's an uphill battle. And I'm not entirely sure how this is going to be received or regulated just yet. So it's one of these sectors that I think in the short term there's money to be had, but nobody knows really how it's going to be received, and from one minute to the next, how it goes.
Interesting. Well, listeners, HRH Linda Pallien for you, and today we are looking at how to deal with money worries in your career and business. All right, so lady, let me leave the ball in your court and just crack the whip, and we'll go on.
Fantastic. So money worries or money anxiety is something that plagues, and of course money is one of the taboo subjects that we've been discouraged from talking about for so long. So it still is. It's the reason why people doing the same level of jobs get different salaries, because you're discouraged to talk about it. And when whatever we resist persists, we know that. So I'll define money anxiety in this context as an unhealthy attitude towards engaging with or administering your personal finances. An unhealthy attitude that you have towards engaging with your personal finances. And this happens at every level of wealth. It's not just for people that don't have any of money, but it's also for people that have a lot of money. Right, so you have different money personalities, where people are too frugal or don't want to talk about it, or too frivolous, and there's a lot of complexes that people develop towards money. But it's important we talk about it, especially in your career and business, because that usually is your measure of success. In your career, it's how much do you earn. In your business, it's what's the bottom line, what's the turnover, what's the profit. So I think it's really important to address this, especially in uncertain times. And we know that worrying doesn't help anything, right? Worrying is using your imagination to create what you don't want, but it's easier said than done. But here are some really compelling reasons why we need to take this seriously about worrying and how harmful it is for us in our career business. The first reason is it wastes time. It wastes time. When you're worrying about something, your mental space isn't free to be creative. It drains your energy, therefore you can't even perform the task that you would be needed to perform to make that money quicker, because your energy is drained. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it steals your happiness. right? Sometimes we're so busy worrying about how to pay the don't realize, oh well, here and now I have this time with my kids. Look at the smile on their face. You miss the small details because you're so fixated, and nobody knows whether you're going to be here at the end of the month to even know if that rent is your problem or not. So when you sort of chunk it into small details, you realize that you still got to be in the present, because most of the money incidents that hasn't even happened. Right, we've imagined them.
Linda, just hold on a minute, please. Listeners, just bear with us. I think we have a bit of interruption coming from I don't know whether it's Cyprus, the internet speed or something, but bear with us. We'll do our best, and once we are done, we'll edit the podcast to take that bit, so that you can get the whole information that she's putting across. So please bear with us. Over to you, Linda.
Okay. Yes, I'm getting some feedback, especially in the sound as well. Okay, so the third harmful effect of worrying about money is some of the unhealthy consequences of it, in terms of you can't sleep, insomnia, which means, again, your energy is drained. There's a lot of tension, so you need to invest more in relaxation techniques and therapists. And also behavioral issues and addictions that it can lead to, which is long-term effects that you wouldn't normally have, in terms of drinking more or smoking more or other addictions that money worries leads to. And finally, the strain on your relationships, whether it's with your spouse, with your family, with your friends, with your boss, with your employees. But strained relationships, again, doesn't help with solving the money problem at hand. So now what I'd like us to look at is, what is the role of money in your life? What role does money play in your life? If we're going to deal with this money worry, we have to understand what we want the money for. It helps. Okay, so the first thing I would encourage everyone to do is definitely look at where you are in terms of what role money plays for you. Is it, for example, a means to make ends meet, which means it doesn't have that much of a hold on your value and your status, but it's a means to an end. I do this, I get some money for it, and that's it. So that's the first option. Is your fulfillment tied to it? That's the second thing, right? Is the prestige of how much do I earn? Is that where your fulfillment comes from? And if you're not earning that much and therefore you're not feeling fulfilled, can we shift the fulfillment to some other area of your life so that you don't feel lacking in that way? And finally, is it a status symbol for you? Right? Is money tied to your status and your perceived value of yourself? Into one. So a lot of people tend to invest, let's say spend on luxury items because it's attached to their perceived value of themselves. So understanding what role money plays in your life will help you to understand where you are at and how this affects you in terms of worry. If your perceived value of yourself is money and you don't have it, then maybe you could do some charity work that makes you feel better or a valuable member of society, so that maybe you're not giving to charity with money, but you're giving with time, and that fulfillment comes and you still have that status. So we really need to understand what role money plays in our lives, in our daily lives, and this can change, right? At one point you may be, it's value and it's my sense of worth, and it means this is how much my skills are worth in the marketplace, and that's fine. And at some point, it might be now. So understanding where you are at right now will really help you to deal with the money worries or money anxiety. Now, bringing it back to career or business, I really want to touch on certain aspects that we don't talk about, right? And this bit I call, how much does your dream job or your dream opportunity cost? A lot of us will be approached every day by friends, family, social media, going, you should join this business, this person started and they're now making X amount. Or actually, I hear that this industry is really good and you don't even have to work as much and you can make it. Whatever it is, but opportunities are everywhere and we're constantly being presented with a load of opportunities, including promotions, right? You might be thinking, well, I'm working at this level and I have this promotion opportunity. So I really want you to understand and put a number on some of the intangible aspects that we don't think about. So for example, the first thing is benefits. How much is the health insurance or the retirement compared to where you're at now? Because that would help you make a decision of whether to leave your full-time job and pursue a part-time, or your full-time job and pursue a part-time opportunity, or stop working for someone and work for yourself, or stop working for yourself and work for someone. Whatever the opportunity is, what are the benefits that you're going to gain, and what's the opportunity cost of not doing it? Then also other hidden costs like wardrobe. For example, if you're doing video courses, you can't wear this. Have a different ideology, and that wardrobe plays a huge part, especially for influencers and anyone that's working online, even Zoom calls, right? Now most people are working from home, and you probably need now to look a bit more presentable than you would do if you were working from your office where nobody came to see you or whatever. And if you're in meetings and you don't want to wear the same thing twice. These are hidden costs. It might sound insignificant, but it adds up, right? So you have to consider that if you're considering a job opportunity. Food as well. Now you may not have access to the office vending machine, the free vending machine or the free coffee. That's important too. If you're working from home, you might have to upgrade to a better Wi-Fi, so a higher tariff of Wi-Fi or the best you can get. That might weigh on your cost too. So then you can weigh whether getting this new job is better than the old job because of the other hidden costs that you might need to. Transport and location as well. You might be earning double, but maybe your commute time is longer. And how does that fit in with what you're looking to do? So let's try and put a monetary value on this so we can make an informed decision when we're considering it.
Listeners, just bear with us. Yeah, go on. Linda, go on. Yeah. Go on, please.
Okay. Time spent on retraining, education, your home office setup. Can you even afford to have a home office now? Does that mean that you have to now put your kids out for daycare or create a different space in their nursery for them? Whatever it is, hardware, software, do you need a ring light and 2 phones right now? Or all of these other costs that's going to help you transition into this opportunity that you're considering. And then of course, other intangible assets like family time and stress levels. Is this new job going to be more stressful than what you have now? And is this the right time to do it? If your family life is stressful as it is changing one thing going to you really have to weigh that out. And then we've got your creative independence as well. If now you're used to working on projects that you like, can you be creative on demand or work to somebody else's specifications? We have other things like if you're starting a business, if you're going to start a business, how much is it going to cost you to start monetary wise? How long can your savings take you on for? When is break even for you? If you're going to break even in the next 6 months or a year, do you have a nest egg covered or put away to cover the shortfall of that? I was working with a client recently, and she was looking to change jobs. And she's always wanted to change her job. She's a family woman, she has a kid and a husband, and it's a new job and it's very exciting. Salary seems higher, but it's a job that comes from the UAE. So especially in uncertain times, in COVID times, is it first in, last out? Can they guarantee that if it's a new venture, if the venture doesn't, that she's going to have a job in 6 months? You know, as much as most employers can't do that, you need some sort of security in relation to where you're at. If it's a new job that you're going to quit your job and they're going to start this project, it doesn't work in 3 months and then you're out of a job, then maybe it's not a great opportunity or a great risk to take at this time. Hidden costs that we need to factor in when we're looking at opportunities. And once we do that, it would really help with quelling those money worries and making us have a better idea or or make an informed choice of what we do when it comes to money.
Wow. Listeners, Starr Radio UK, HRH Linda Pallien all the way from Cyprus. And today we are looking at how to deal with money worries in your career and business. I know people are saying that look, when it comes to money worries, my goodness, they've got a whole list of things that is worrying them when it comes to the finances. But one of the areas that you touched on that I want us to have a quick look at is how much does your dream cost? Now some dreams like my dream job or my dream profession, some of them are colossal if you are costing it. And if you want to look at look for the industry and see that, okay, this is what I'm expecting to be paid, and at a time, because that industry, that particular firm cannot afford to do that, then what do you do?
Yeah, that's another firm. Sorry, I don't think I understood your question entirely.
Yeah, because you're talking about costing your dream job, how much it costs. Okay, now so your training and everything has made you. So assuming we want to take on, or we want to employ HRH Linda in a firm where she's going to be doing all her, knowing your value as a person. Now, it will be difficult for you to go to a private entity or a group to say that let them employ you, and you think that they're going to be able to pay that sum of money that you think you are valued. So what do you do in that state?
Negotiate, for sure. If someone can't afford to pay you your value, there's this thing that I talk about called the money value exchange. The money value exchange, you really reciprocity. So if they can't give you 10 eggs and they can give you 5 eggs and maybe an apple, then you can give them 5 eggs and an apple's worth of service or product. You know, there's always room to negotiate in terms of exchange, or maybe a referral, or maybe help me secure another contract. So you always, in your negotiations, you always can give instead of your time. But for example, if, as you were saying, someone wanted to use my services and they couldn't afford the full package, then I could say, okay, well, in exchange for this, we will do this amount up onto this point that I'm comfortable with, to see whether it works for me, whether it's feasible for me to do this at this level. And then if it's not, we'll talk about it again. And this is exactly what we're talking about in terms of, if you don't negotiate because you don't know your worth, or you feel like it's a taboo subject, or you're not going to tell them and you're going to sit at home and make it your spouse's problem. It really just opened that dialogue, but you really need to be honest with people about what's feasible for you. And sometimes you might be able to do something free in a short term, just as a taper session, and I'm not mad at that at all. Everybody has to do something like that at some point. But the worst thing is when you feel like you're being taken advantage of, because there's no exchange anymore. There's just a take
one-sided.
Exactly, then that's demoralizing for everybody, because you start to feel demotivated, so you don't do your best, and then they go, oh, they're not doing their best, they're not worth as much as they said they were, and then your name and your reputation goes down as well. So it's a lose-lose situation. So it really helps to be upfront. And also an example like Tesla, for example. You may have a dream job that really will cost the whole country giving you money to do that. And you have to factor that into, okay, well, who's done something maybe remotely similar in terms of expense or magnitude? How long did it take them to get an investor? What did they do? What documents or what proof do they need? How do they convince them? So all that research, and that will take time. And in the time that you're doing all of that stuff, nobody is paying you. So again, this is where the nest egg comes in. Can you afford to do that? Or maybe do that on a part-time basis for longer? This happens with writers a lot. A lot of writers will sit at home and they're broke and they can't even afford
the paper that they have to write on,
Exactly. So it's just, how long can I afford to do this? And sometimes that's a motivation, because you think, well, I've only got 6 months before my funds run out, so I better have.
Okay, listeners, HRH Linda Pallien. Now we apologize for the interruption there, but let me say good afternoon to Gina Latte, Salome Ado, Taiwo Samson, and all of you on the Facebook. Before we run up our conversation, now somebody is asking the question, now how do I cost myself or value myself? How do they do that? Do they have to okay, I went to uni, I went to preparatory school, I went to this secondary school, and I went there, you quantify all that, and then I've had a degree, I have a doctorate, I have and all that, and then you put it together and say, this is how much I am worth. Is that it?
This is a great question. Valuing yourself really starts from what benefits you can do a future extrapolation of. It's almost like forecasting, right? So you've done your prep school, you've got a degree, you've got this, you've done that, but also being honest with yourself. How independent are your skills from the real results? For example, if you're a project manager, your skills won't matter. It needs to be proportionate to the project. Okay, you couldn't go and ask for higher than the project is worth. So you've got to do some analysis in line with the market's value of the skills and services you provide, and find a medium ground that you're willing to work at. But if you know that I can do this with my eyes closed and I get results every time, then don't devalue yourself. A lot of the value will be proven with results. So whatever you do value yourself at, you have to be willing to back it up.
Okay. Wow. Listeners, Starr Radio UK. Now, you want further information, you want some more help when it comes to the job front or your career? Well, I've got a lady there for you. She's going to put her contact details across. Make sure you get in touch with her. Make sure. Okay, I always say this, in the abundance of water, it takes the food to be tasty. Only the fool to be thirsty. So make sure that you take advantage of what we are bringing to you this afternoon. So Linda, can you put your details and how listeners can contact you across, please?
Absolutely. Contact me, please, via hello@lindapallien.com. Hello@lindapallien.com. Send me an email. Archie.com. Contact me on social media at Linda Pallien. That's LINDAPALLIEN @Linda Pallien on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.
Okay. Linda, let me say a massive thank you to you, and we are always grateful when you come our way to bring us all this information that we need to make sure that we get to the height that God prepared for us, or destiny has for us.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a blessed day. We'll catch up later.
You too.
All right. Bye. Listeners, the top of the hour, and it is the Monday edition of the morning show. I'm bringing the program to a close, and wherever you are, just stay tuned and don't you go away. This evening, this afternoon, there's going to be lots of music coming your way. We call it more music, less talk. So yes, those of you who love uninterrupted music, you're going to be having that. And then at 5 o'clock, we will bring you the On Point show with Regina Edima. Okay, and then it will be followed at 10 o'clock by another show from the one and only Dave West at the Conscious Reggae Time. So, in a nutshell, that's what is going to be happening. But before we go, let me check for any updates before we bring the program to a close. Across the globe. Yes, it seems every information is up to date. It's up to date, but it is all Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, yes, breaking story that came through a moment ago. The head of the Methodist Church in Nigeria, Samuel Kanu, has been abducted along with 2 other priests on their way back from a church event. The men were traveling on a major highway on Sunday in the southeastern state of Abia when they were kidnapped. Local police officers have said it is not clear who is responsible, but separatist groups frequently carry out abductions in the regions. Now, police say they have launched a rescue mission to find the clerics. Now, kidnappings are often for a ransom are common in many parts of Nigeria. There has also been a resurgence of attacks by armed gangs, including Islamist militant groups in the north, and as the country prepares for a general election next year. Much of the unrest in Nigeria's southeast region stems from separatists who are demanding a breakaway state. The government blames the indigenous people of Biafra, that's the IPOB movement, for many attacks in the region, which IPOB denies, but the group continues to enforce sit-at-home orders on Mondays, which are usually preceded by attacks on Sunday evenings to scare people into compliance. Okay. Well, this is where we bring the program to a close, and as I said, it is a 55th anniversary celebration of the Biafra the war, the civil war that took place in Nigeria in 1967. There is a 55th anniversary, but there's not been a day that has been stated or put on the national calendar for the celebration of people who lost their lives, whatever the situation might be. But well, today they're celebrating that particular day. Well, so we say to every life that was lost, and to those who are still pushing for recognition, all the best. Okay. And let me say thank you very much to Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who was on the ground, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Gaye, and all you wonderful people who joined us on the program today. Lots of you on the program. I say a massive thank you to you, and then see you all tomorrow. Bye for now. Enjoy this music from The Time is a Timeless One. from Dimapur, Nagaland. It says, "Don't worry and be happy." All right then.
Ain't got no place to lay